Welcome back, everybody, to Hard Ticket to Halloween, our October horror movie marathon, where we put 5 horror movie matchups directly into your ears. I'm Jeffrey Bogus.
And I'm Tristan Moore.
Today's episode is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're very excited. We're back to just the two of us after 2 guest episodes in a row. Bringing a guest on, hopefully, at the end of the month. So you just get mom and dad this week. But
you get to decide who's mom and who's dad.
We have a special little matchup that's near and dear to our hearts. So, Tristan, without farther ado, why don't you just go ahead and introduce us to option number A?
Yeah, option number A is a Japanese 1977 comedy horror film called House, or Hausu, depending on how you want to pronounce it, directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi.
You got it.
Okay. I'm not even going to try to say who this stars because, for one, most of these most of these actors didn't do a lot after this, and most people aren't going to know who they are.
Yeah.
So I'll just go into the plot real quick. It stars a teenage girl who's known as Gorgeous. That's her name.
That is, yeah.
It's her name. I guess that's it's not even a nickname. That's just what they call her.
I think she does have a real name. She's the only one that has an alternative name credited on IMDb. But the rest of her pack just have names one of their sole personality trait, basically.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other part of this movie. It's this teenage girl named Gorgeous, and she goes to visit her aunt, who she's hasn't seen since she was a child, basically.
Yeah, she only met once as a child.
She goes for a summer trip with half a dozen of her best friends, and they're all named Envy, or not Envy, sorry. They're named
Joy, Sadness, Madness, Fear.
They're named Fantasy and Melody and Sweet. They're named all these abstract concepts that describe their personality.
It's a Goonies thing. One Chunk. Of them's named Mac because she's the stomach of the group. And that is the chunk. Classic horror movie fat phobia.
Yeah. And she's not even really fat. She just kind of has chubby cheeks. So she's the fat one, yeah.
Yeah, and she's always I'm starving, I'm ready to eat. And everybody else is save some for the rest of it. So, yeah, you gotta love 1970s, especially in Japan. They're a little harsher.
A little harsher.
Beauty standards.
You have one character named Prof, I guess short for professor, and she's the smart one.
She has glasses.
She wears glasses, yeah.
Exactly.
So they visit Gorgeous's aunt's house, and they find out that it's not a normal house.
No.
It's in fact a haunted house.
Right.
And as I like to say, hijinks ensue. As one by one, each of the girls are picked off, and it's a lot of fun. It's a very unique film, and we've decided to pair it with another very unique film.
Yes. We are putting this film up against Evil Dead 2. So that is option number B for this week. We decided to skip ahead to the second of the Evil Dead franchise because this one basically just redoes the first movie in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that came out in 1987, so 10 years after House hits theaters in Japan. It's directed by Sam Raimi, who didn't have Spider-Man to his name yet. He was just an indie horror director, still doing things a little scrappily under the radar. But he's
DIY.
He had a following, and it stars Bruce Campbell as Ashley Williams.
Yes.
Who takes his girlfriend to a cabin in the woods, somebody's cabin. No idea whose. They don't seem to know either.
Yeah.
And he finds a tape recorder where there is a professor who is reading about or studying this book, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis.
Yes.
That he reads an incantation in the tape recorder that Ash plays, and the incantation over tape summons the same demons that attacked the professor initially, and now the cabin is just under siege by these otherworldly forces.
Yeah. It's a supernatural home invasion movie.
Yeah, a bit of a survival movie as well. And Bruce Campbell's he's the guy, but there are a handful of other characters who show up.
Yeah, there's sort of a B team who shows up. They're related. It's the daughter of the professor and her boyfriend, and then some local color who comes in.
Oh, and no need to worry about his girlfriend because she's dead. She dies 5 minutes into the movie. So
Yeah, he decapitates her with a shovel.
right.
Her name is Linda. Rip Linda.
Was Linda.
Linda.
And so Evil Dead 2 probably is more well known in horror circles. The Evil Dead franchise has crossed over into the mainstream. You know, it's not the most ubiquitous horror franchise like a Halloween or like Friday the 13th. But it's certainly like, you know, it put Sam Raimi on the map.
Yeah.
And it's still absolutely, I mean, there was an Evil Dead, like a reboot a couple years ago.
There was a reboot, I think in 2013, directed by Fede Alvarez, who just kind of made waves, I think last year with Alien Romulus.
Oh, okay.
Evil Dead Rise came out 2 years ago, and that was a pretty big deal. And then there was the Ash versus the Evil Dead TV show, which I've never seen. I've seen the movies, but not Ash versus the Evil Dead.
And of course, Bruce Campbell returns for the TV show. So you have these like alternate continuities kind of happening while there are continuities still following up on the original trilogy, which Evil Dead 2 is, you know, smack dab in the middle of.
Yeah.
It starts with The Evil Dead in 1981. 6 years later, we get this movie. And then a handful of years later, we get Army of Darkness, which is, I think, probably the most streamlined of the three. I heard it was like, it was a little bit lighter in tone. And so there were versions that got cut up and could actually play on television. So it got a lot more exposure that way.
Yeah, I grew up watching Army of Darkness because I think it was just more appropriate for a kid to watch that than Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. And it's like 80 minutes and it is way more just straight comedy, I would say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm very interested in watching that one now.
It's really funny. It's really funny.
But you might be wondering now why we are pairing these two films up against each other, or maybe you've not.
Yeah, it's obvious, I feel like.
If you've seen both of these movies, yeah. I mean, we have 5 matchups paired this month, and I think this one is the one we were both like,
what else could you do?
Yeah, we can't possibly pair these films up against anything else.
Yeah.
So here we are today to talk about it. And maybe we should, you know, set the tone a little bit and talk about like what makes these movies unique in a similar way.
Well, I don't know. After watching these movies, the thing that was running through my head was like, there is a formal audacity to both these movies. That's like the the kind of cinematic term for it.
Formal audacity.
Both of these movies are pulling out all the stops, all the tricks. They're scrappy, and you can kind of tell that they're scrappy, but they hide the scrappiness too by just editing it to, you know, I think you said a couple weeks ago about House of a Thousand Corpses, edited within an inch of its life.
Yeah.
Like both these movies are edited to hell and back, almost literally. Crazy effects, crazy performances. They're very campy, very surreal, absurd. Tonally, yeah, they're comedic, but they are horror movies, and there is legitimate horror in them compared to something like our first Hard Ticket to Halloween episode where we were talking about, you know,
the spoofs.
Spoofs, yeah. These aren't spoofs. These are comedic, but they're not spoofing anything really. In fact, Evil Dead is a template for Cabin in the Woods to riff off of. Yeah. So, what else comes to mind to you when you think about the similarities between these two?
Well, definitely, like you mentioned, the filmmaking techniques for sure. To me, both of these movies are really impressively striking that delicate balance of campy, silly to genuine. I wrote in my notes, I was like, is this the perfect combination of cheesy to genuine? Is this what this matchup is? And it is. I mean, I don't get the sense necessarily that these, you know, House of a Thousand Corpses, I feel like was a film that was lost when it was shooting and it was found in the edit. And what they did was just put it in a pulverizer, basically,
blender,
and stitch something together out of it. Whereas these movies, it's like, I think part of the freneticism is built in to the camera work very intentionally.
Especially Evil Dead 2. I mean, there's like the famous like Raimi like spirit cam where he's like going through the forest and there's like there's like an intensity to it. Yeah, that's planned. It is his vision.
There's a scene in Evil Dead 2 where like there are all these sounds on the outside of the cabin that are just hitting different spots, and all the characters in unison are turning the exact same way.
Yes.
Contrast that with something like Big Shark, or Sharknado, which we covered last month, where like the characters don't know where to look because like that's nobody's vision. You
Yeah,
know?
where's
It's
my
not-
mark? Like it doesn't matter. We're just making Sharknado, but yet Sam Raimi cares about these little details. And the same, and House is the exact same. It's the little details.
Yeah, and they definitely both like they play into it and use it to their advantage. Evil Dead 2 definitely takes itself a lot sillier than the first Evil Dead does, which I think plays out more like a standard kind of horror film.
Yeah.
And House, I mean, Obayashi hadn't had a lot of, he had directed some things up until this point, but I mean, he begged to direct this movie.
Yeah.
This was Toho's answer to Jaws.
Yeah, which like you read that and you're like, how?
Yeah.
How the hell?
Yeah, they wanted to tap into some sort of like universal horror thing, I guess. And supposedly Obayashi like asked his 10-year-old daughter at the time, like, what are you scared of?
Right.
What are the things you're scared of? And she told him, and she said that, you know, as a child, there's a lot of things that are just very mundane that I think you're still gleaning fear from.
Yes.
I think she said that like she was afraid to look in the mirror and for like it not her to be looking back at her.
Yeah. She's afraid of her futons like falling on her. And
Yeah.
stuff.
And so a lot of House almost feels like it's from the perspective of a child. Everything is like really whimsical. There's one scene where like there's a character who's just like getting her hair done or her makeup done. And one of the girls is just looking at her and blinking one eye at a time.
Yeah.
And the camera cuts to just like, you know, like 15 degrees difference of her because it's like what she's seeing.
Yes.
That is a shot that has always stuck with me in this movie. This was only my second time watching it. And then Evil Dead 2 is like just madness. Madcap. Yes, there is supernatural forces that are like invading. But it's also like, you're losing your mind at the same time.
Oh yeah. Poor Ash Williams is losing his mind the entire time. It's Bruce Campbell. This is one of maybe the best performances ever.
You think?
I think so. Yeah, I think I can say that. It's not technically like especially challenging. He's really doing like a
so over the top.
Yeah, he's doing like a Three Stooges kind of thing. I mean, if you've seen like Nicolas Cage in movies, it's kind of channeling a little bit of that madcap energy.
Yeah.
But there's like a expressiveness to his face too. He's like Jim Carrey. Like he's got a rubber face that can contort and do all these. I mean, he literally at one point puts on a rubber face to become a deadite.
And he looks great.
And he looks great while he's doing it. But he even manages to emote while he's doing it too, because he has that moment where he comes out of the possession with all the rubber and makeup on his face and manages to look like forlorn.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of practical filmmaking techniques that are being utilized in the Evil Dead. A lot less blue screening in the Evil Dead 2 than in House.
Yes.
Which was 10 years prior, which is kind of wild to think about. I mean, I'm talking about the formal audacity. That is House to a T. Because like the green screen looks terrible and you watch it and you're like, there's no way they don't know it looks terrible. Like there's half of people's bodies missing because you just aren't at the point where you can key that stuff. Like you can't fine tune it.
Yeah.
But Obayashi doesn't care. He's just like,
and it adds to the effect. It's more effective that way. Like just the, there's like a shoddiness to it, but you never get the idea that they're just half-assing anything, which is like, what is that? Like, how do you find that? There's your middle ground, right? Where you're talking about like sincerity and the silliness of it. You never get the sense that they're half-assing anything, even though there's parts of it that feel half-assed.
Yeah, I made a note, especially when watching Evil Dead 2, that like I feel like a lot of like trauma movies really want to do what Evil Dead 2 is doing. Because you watch it and you're like, it's like the film, what makes Raimi's filmmaking techniques so legendary in this movie? It's kind of just how simple they are.
Yeah.
You know, when he's doing that camera that's like flying through the woods, they just like attach it to two 2x4s that just protrude underneath of it, and that's how it like breaks windows and stuff like that. And it's like, oh yeah, it's genius. And he's doing a lot of practical effects too, lots of puppets, some wire work. There are plenty of practical effects in House as well. But the blue screening, sometimes you kind of lose a little bit of a sense of space in House, I will say, just because like it leans more into the special effects than the practical ones.
Yeah, although I will say in its defense, I think it's kind of portraying a dissolution of space. Like
Yeah.
it really feels like this haunted space that they're in is falling apart at the same time as all of like the group of girls are falling apart. Like they're becoming a part of it in a way. That's why again, like the shoddiness, it really adds to the effect. I feel like it's surreal. It really is.
Yeah, it goes full surreal. Whereas Evil Dead 2 definitely still like, you kind of feel those hits. You feel those punches a little bit more because it's using a lot of those.
Yeah, everything is there, it feels like, except for a couple shots. Yeah.
Jake, you're holding my hand too tight.
Baby, I ain't holding your hand.
I think it's worth noting that House doesn't make an appearance in America until 2009. And when it came out in Japan, it was considered commercially successful, although, I can't really find the records of like box office or budget. But like American audiences don't see this thing until 2009 when Janus Films and the Criterion Collection like kind of partner up, bring it to United States audiences. And then in like 2011, Bill Hader walks into the Criterion closet and he picks it up off of a shelf and he's like, this film is amazing. I just, like got off filming a episode of SNL and the next day went down to the theater and watched this movie. And then he like unzips his jacket and he's wearing like a House shirt.
Yeah.
And so around that time, now it has exposure to audiences and they watch it and it develops a cult following in the United States and all over the world, really. Then you have Sam Raimi's work, which Raimi hits the mainstream kind of when he gets handed the reins to Spider-Man in the early 2000s. And then all of a sudden, all the work that he's done before that is like being reevaluated a little bit.
To mainstream audiences.
Yeah, they already had its own cult following, and a lot of people really loved it. It got praised when it came out, despite being unique and not really like anything United States audiences had seen. And in 1987, when it comes out, 6 years after the original, I think horror has pivoted to like a little more of a like welcoming, more zany elements. This is like the decade of Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're coming off of like the late 70s where it's a lot of practical things, slashers, stalkers, like Halloween, or like Black Christmas in 74. Like this is what the norm has been. And so fast forward to like the late 80s, 10 years after House, which was probably way ahead of its time, and we're ready for it. We're ready to accept Evil Dead 2. We're ready to go on to a third movie without like hesitating,
Yeah, what does that say about like American audiences in the 80s, the late 80s? I mean, I always, for me, like the moment that like changes films and in Hollywood anyways forever is 1977, which is the year the House came out, but Star Wars also comes out that year.
Yeah.
And that's the year that like fantasy, escapist entertainment makes the most buttload of money that you've ever seen ever. And now Hollywood is just trying to do Star Wars. They're just trying to repeat the Star Wars formula. They're trying to go all out, be zany, be fantastical, be sci-fi. And I think that's when you see, a rise of like a hunger for something that's a little, maybe you could say juvenile or escapist, I guess. But that even bleeds over into your horror movies, because you're right.
Yeah.
They're not as straight edged and kind of gritty, I guess, as like they were in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. Even something like Alien, which kind of combines that unknown kind of sci-fi monster aspect, still has a very practical, a very like down to earth kind of storytelling component to it.
Yeah, and it starts to fade away as you get into the 80s. And Sam Raimi was there. He's part of like bringing in that change. And like Star Wars, people who saw the Evil Dead movies when they were coming out wanted to be Sam Raimi. Like they wanted to make their Evil Dead movies. Because again, this just goes back to kind of like the patchwork way that these films were assembled. You can kind of see the seams, but it makes them more endearing because of it. And it's like, if you can see it, you can replicate it.
Yeah.
And that's what people love about them. That's what's still endearing to me about them. There's stuff that you watch and you're like, how the hell did they do that? And there's other stuff that's like, I know exactly how they did that, and I would have never thought to do it that way because it's so it like the best, like the most genius ideas. It's obvious after you see it.
Yeah.
So Sam Raimi kind of, but apparently, and this is amazing to me. I guess Sam Raimi had never seen House. I don't know if there's any record that he actually was influenced by House when he made Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, despite the overwhelming similarities. I mean, there are shots from House that feel like they're directly homaged in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, there's no like, at least in my limited search, there's no direct path like connecting the two movies.
Yeah.
Obayashi's work, like, I am not super familiar with, although his Labyrinth of Cinema, which was the last movie that he made in 2019 before he passed a year later, like that is on my watch list, and it has been on my watch list. So like he's definitely, and he was part of a lot of movies. He's got a pretty prolific career, but this is definitely the one that people cite the most in reference to his work. Raimi's stuff, like this is around the time where he starts to establish himself, establish his style. He collects those imitators. I think it's funny that Evil Dead 2 was shot by Peter Deming, who went on to shoot Screams 2 through 4 and Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, there you go.
So there's your connection there. And this was the first movie that he ever shot. So like, you get these people who are still going out and like carrying that legacy into even just technical work. Like the influence is very deep.
Yeah.
But it starts with House and probably even before House. Too.
Yeah. I was talking to you before the recording about like influences on House, and I've watched a little bit of Giallo, and I feel like there has to be some like like Fulci and Argento, and there has to be some Italian cinema influences on House, and probably the same for Evil Dead, including Grindhouse influences from like the 70s.
Yeah.
So maybe the similarity comes from the fact that they are drawing from similar inspirations. That would make sense. There's a common ancestor there.
Yeah, it does. Because it definitely feels more like these movies, they don't take as much inspiration from something just like your B flicks. Those movies, you go back and watch them, and a lot of the time, they're just, I feel like they're really stale a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But something like a Mario Bava, who is considered like the king of that shit, the king of the low budget.
Yeah.
Definitely influenced giallos and was working around that time as well. And those movies have a lot of like, they have unconventional camera work. Mm-hmm. They have really bright, vibrant colors, which is a theme of both of these movies, especially like I always think about the blood when Bruce Campbell shoots the wall and he's like, "Gotcha, you little sucker." And then it starts bleeding that like really bright red giallo blood.
Yeah.
Like you can't say that. It definitely feels like, yeah, this is a natural kind of step. But these movies are 10 years apart. I just keep thinking about that. Like how House was so ahead of its time, and it didn't even find its audience until like the end of the 2000s.
Well, it didn't find its audience in America, but there were people, the younger generation in Japan resonated with House.
Yeah.
To not to a modest extent, I guess you could say. It wasn't, I don't get the impression that it was like a huge deal ever in Japan until probably later. But the younger generation, which makes sense to me, like you were talking about how it feels like it's a film made through the lens of like a child or something. I think it taps into something there that would be resonant. But no, you're right. I think it's kind of remarkable. It's almost like Raimi, it's like two people hitting on the wheel 10 years apart, separately, never having any contact with each other. But they have all the, the axle and all the parts to do it.
Yeah.
And they just hit upon something that makes sense. And now they're like two of the most influential films of their eras.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the idea that ideas are themselves alive, and they just kind of use humans as their vessel. And it's almost like, how everybody says now, and they've probably always said this, that there's no such thing as an original story.
Sure, yeah.
Even if like you have an idea that's original to you, it just goes to show that somebody has done something similar with it before. And it is wild to think that House came out the same year as Star Wars because of all the blue screening stuff that it's doing, the audacity. We have an on and off kind of movie club. Me, you, and our friend Dallas from Hard Ticket Episode 5, Man of Begins.
Yes. One of our most popular.
And we had a theme a few months back that was like non-shared universe superhero movies. And we watched Spawn as a result of that. And we had mixed opinions on Spawn, and that led to somebody sending a clip of Siskel and Ebert in our group chat where they also vehemently disagreed with each other about Spawn.
Yeah.
And Siskel's just trashing it. He's just like, I read most of the synopsis from like this article because I could not give a shit about this movie. And then Roger Ebert's like defending it in a way where he's talking about how prolific it is. And Spawn is using like a lot of like, really early like CG work in the sense that it establishes whole environments and places. And now, they look like PS1 graphics. They look very bad. They're very
PS0 graphics, really. You're being a little generous.
Half.
Yeah.
The visions of what hell looks like in this movie are things we've never seen before on screen. And that dragon-like character, the kind of overgrown gecko, as they call him, who was the beast of hell, that's a wonderful animated and special effects creation.
It didn't stand out for me.
And then what about...
To me, House is like doing a similar thing where it's like, yeah, it looks bad. It does it more so on purpose, but the audacity it has to push that technology forward to play with it, because it seems like it was just a really fun time making this movie, which is kind of why people started to make, or when movies became more accessible to people, it just became something that they did for fun because they loved it. And that kind of feels like House is an extension of that, especially in the legacy of Jaws.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about the whole Jaws connection. I mean, and that's the Star Wars connection too. Like Jaws and Star Wars establish a trend in Hollywood, the blockbuster trend. And you see all these studios around the world chasing that trend too. And House is doing it in a way. It didn't do it successfully at the time, but there is a funness to it, a camp to it that is that kind of belies like the serious subject matter, the thematic material that's underpinning this whole story, which is the atomic bomb angle. So maybe we can kind of transition into a little bit talking about what are these movies even really about? Right?
I am so curious to hear your take. I really am, because House to me, this is the last thing I'll say, is like, it feels to me like a movie that invites you to interpret so much from it. Whether it's saying something concretely, is really up to the individual person.
Oh yeah.
And there are certain
as
people
with anything.
And there are a lot of people who say that it doesn't say anything at all. I don't think that's true. And I don't think that's necessarily true of any movie that invites you to interpret from it. So what is your interpretation?
Well, okay. So, and I don't know how straightforward it is, but this is my third time watching House. I watched it the day that Obayashi died in 2020.
Oh, wow.
It had sat on my watch list for a long time. I believe that's like the beginning of COVID. So I was home alone and, and under lockdown and watched House and really liked it. I wrote a short review on Letterboxd and it did not go into detail at all. It was just like, rest in peace, Obayashi. This is a really crazy, awesome movie. Watched it again earlier this year, just on a whim. Didn't write a review, and again thought basically the same thing. Like, this is a really fun, crazy movie, and then didn't really think about it afterwards. It was only on this watch through I had become vaguely aware that there's an atomic bomb subtext, and it's not even. And I feel embarrassed because it's not even really subtext now. Like, once you see it, it's obvious. It's like we're talking about the genius ideas with the filmmaking and everything. Like, oh, of course they did it that way, because once they do it, it's obvious. You're watching House, and the whole backstory with Gorgeous's aunt is that she was betrothed to this guy who got drafted during World War II, and he died during the war, never came back. And
she waited for him.
She waited for him until eventually she became a ghost or a spirit of some sort. And I should have known, right? Because it feels like most Japanese films that have endured from the 20th century, that have something profound to say, tend to be sort of a post-war atomic age commentary. You think of Godzilla. That's like the big obvious one. Godzilla is a metaphor for the bomb and for Imperial Japan and for, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Colonialism. And then you look at movies like My Neighbor Totoro and
Grave of the Fireflies. That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. All these movies that are dealing with Japan's the only country that's ever had a nuke dropped on it, not just once but twice.
Yeah.
You know, so it's there's a lot of trauma there that needs to be reckoned with. So anyway, in the film they do like this, and this is great because this film is so stylistic, and they do a flashback of the ant, and it's like a silent film. It's like
a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing that they do, watching this archive footage, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh,
they're like commenting on it.
oh
and
yeah,
everything.
he got shot. Oh no.
Yeah. He's so serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like film, like a silent film too, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, it feels period appropriate. And then at the end of this like collage of the flashback of the ant, you know, losing her beloved and everything, there's a 2-second flash of the atomic bomb. 2 seconds in this movie.
Yeah, and one of them says, "It looks like cotton candy."
I think it's Mac who says it. Look, of course.
Well, of
Mac,
course, always thinking about her
always
stomach.
thinking about- She says it looks like cotton candy. And I was like, okay. And I guess Obayashi has like a quote where he's like, I wanted to make a horror movie where the theme is the atomic bomb. Which it's like, well, that sounds actually kind of easy because the atomic bomb is a horrifying concept. You watch House though, and if you had no idea that that was sort of like there, I think you would have a hard time picking up on it a little bit. And I know, because I know I did for the 2 times that I've seen it. And I consider myself to be fairly astute when it comes to watching films. I usually like pick up on something, you know. This film always kind of eluded me, not in like a frustrating way, just in a way where I was like, it's mostly just a fun house of horrors kind of deal. But there's a trauma to this film that is interesting.
There's trauma. Trauma's prevalent across any genre dealing with hauntings.
Yeah.
I read The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
Because it's one of my girlfriend. It is my girlfriend's favorite book. She loves that book. And to me, it's almost always like the source that I go back to when I'm, experiencing a haunted house story.
Yeah.
And the main protagonist of that book, Eleanor, she's like, her mother has passed away and she took care of her mother. Like she lost her youth to taking care of her ailing mother, who was also very critical of her. And there's even like, she goes to this house where there's a group of people who are all gathered there because there's a paranormal investigator who wants to see kind of how they react staying in a haunted house. And Eleanor is haunted by like visions and experiences that connote the time she spent with her mother, basically.
Yeah.
And at one point, even like she's in a bed and she's holding somebody's hand and she thinks she knows whose hand it is, but it's not. It turns out she's like, hey, she's either in the room alone. I think she is in the room alone.
Yeah.
And there's a scene like in Evil Dead 2 where like Bobby Joe is...
You're holding my hand too tight. Yeah.
He's like, oh, sweetheart, I ain't holding your hand.
Yeah.
They always connote that. And what you're talking about, the trauma that's haunting from the nuclear bomb is like, of course, like I get those vibes from House as well, because the aunt is like the spirit that is tormenting like her own kin, essentially.
Yeah, the ant angle I think is kind of obvious, but there's like in the middle of this film, there's the scene where Gorgeous, so they go to the ant's house and they're all kind of doing their things, right? All the girls are, Melody plays the piano, Max eating, all the girls are doing Kung Fu. There's a girl named Kung Fu and she's
doing Kung Fu.
She's kicking shit.
Fantasy is fantasizing.
She's imagining, well, like fantasy, her whole thing is like like all the bad things that are happening to her friends, she actually gets to witness them, but no one believes fantasy because she's fantasy.
Oh,
she fantasizes.
She's delusional.
Yeah,
again.
exactly. She gets, gaslit the entire time, basically. And I probably didn't use gaslight correctly. Everybody uses that wrong. But anyways, Gorgeous, her whole thing, she's gorgeous. So she goes up to her aunt's, like, it's like her mirrors and her makeup, and she dolls herself up. And while she's looking in the mirror, she turns into her aunt. You have this inversion, this duality that happens there. And so there's the trauma of the aunt, where she never got over her husband who died during the war. Yeah. And it's mirrored by Gorgeous's trauma, because there's something going on with Gorgeous. The whole reason that she visited her aunt is because her dad, who's a film composer, has met this, I think she's an actress. I think she's stated to be an actress who's going to be Gorgeous's stepmom, because Gorgeous's mom is dead.
She passed away 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Yeah, she has kind of vague memories of her, but she never properly grieved. She never got over it. That's her trauma.
Yeah.
So there's a reflection of trauma there where it's like they're both not able to move past
Yeah.
what's happened to them. And in that moment, that's sort of when Gorgeous becomes possessed by her aunt and is like a vessel for her, wrath, which is that she wants to gobble up all these kids who are unmarried, all these unmarried women specifically.
Yeah, she's consumed. They're both consumed by basically their trauma.
Yes.
It makes a really interesting contrast with Evil Dead and Ash's like the loss of his girlfriend Linda.
Yeah.
And this is interesting too because it ties into like the last line in House, which is said in a pretty cynical context, is like Gorgeous doing a voiceover where she's basically like, we keep the dead alive by telling their stories. We keep them alive in our hearts so that they're always with us.
Yeah.
And in the context of House, it's like they kept them alive and couldn't ever live past them.
Oh yeah,
essentially.
it's a possessiveness which gives new meaning to the term, like possession, like a ghostly possession. Yeah.
But the opposite thing essentially happens with Ash in the Evil Dead 2, because in the Evil Dead 2, Ash loses his girlfriend within the first 5 minutes, but he still has her locket.
Yes.
And Ash gets like possessed on and off, essentially by the Deadites, who are the demons who are attacking the house.
The Kandarian demons.
Right. Yeah. First, like he gets possessed, and then the sun comes up, and the demon leaves his body. Then night falls again. He gets bitten on the hand by his like dead ex-lover, and that hand, only the hand becomes infected for some reason.
Yeah.
So he,
because it's funny.
yeah, because it's really funny.
Yeah.
So he chops off his hand, and then like eventually gets possessed anyway.
Again, yeah, he gets possessed again.
But he is able to snap out of that possession because of his sentimentality, that his like mortal soul is still holding to the locket of his dead ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
Well, his dead girlfriend. She's an ex because she's dead, but it's his attachment to her that keeps him clinging to life, actually.
Yeah, and even like towards the end of this movie, because the professor who was there at the cabin, he brought his wife along, and she became possessed too. And then the B team who shows up later, Annie is like the daughter of the professor and the wife, and the wife is like attacking Ash, and Annie sings like a lullaby to the demon and temporarily lulls it away from Ash because it's tapping into that human side, which is interesting. It's like these two films do kind of seem like they're veering in two different directions about what role does your sentimentality play, and like at what point does it become destructive that you've held on?
たとえ肉体が滅んでも、人はいつまでも誰かの心の中に、その人への思いとともに生き続けている。
Yeah, and so in a way, Evil Dead 2 is like less cynical, maybe, than House, except Ash does get cast into the Middle Ages at the end of the movie.
He does. It's more like his adventures continue kind of deal. I mean, and you're talking, there's probably a cultural difference there too, right? I mean, Americans are probably a little more cheesy, a little more sentimental, and we didn't have 2 atomic bombs dropped on our heads, so it's a little bit different,
Yeah, that's very true. We did not. The adventures continue. We leave the door open for another Evil Dead, and we get it, and we get many more. Whereas House is like, these girls are picked off one by one, and at the end, like, Gorgeous is still there, but she's possessed and also probably dead. But like, there's this weird like soul world that they're probably oscillating back and forth with.
Everything gets consumed. Everything gets consumed. That's the message of House. Whereas in Evil Dead, Ash is like the ultimate Sisyphus. He's Sisyphus. We go back to our gray man discussion. Is
the gods, they made him push a rock up a hill. Did he deserve it? Probably.
yeah. But that's Ash, really, because like everything in Evil Dead, it's like one thing after another. Like he never catches a break. But he continues to weather it, and that's part of, like, what makes him so endearing is that he deals with it and then deals with the next thing. He takes it on the chin, that big old chin of his, and that's what we love about him. So there's a we will go on, we will continue to fight kind of bravado and bravura to Evil Dead, whereas House is more just like this pain that you hold on to, this trauma, if you hold on to, you continue to do so, it will consume everything.
Yeah.
And you will die.
And you'll kill everybody around you.
Yes,
basically.
and you will kill your loved ones.
It will consume your friends. Their various body parts will be floating in the ether, and yet still Kung Fu's bottom half will still be doing Kung Fu and saving them. Yeah, very surreal. And Melody's fingers will still be playing the piano.
And then they'll get eaten by the piano.
A little bit of a piano motif between the two, because Ash plays the piano at the beginning of Evil Dead 2.
There's a poltergeist who plays the piano also in like a piece. It's funny because after his girlfriend Linda dies, he's like mourning her.
Yeah.
And then the piano starts playing, and it's a poltergeist playing it, and it's like a piece of. You think it's like the movie playing the music, and then you realize it's diegetic. It's the piano, and there's a little bit of humor there. You're right. There is like this weird music figures really prominently into House itself, but between the two,
so much. Yeah, that theme, that lead motif, it plays constantly in this movie. At one point, like Gorgeous opens up a music box and plays the song while it's already playing in the background. So it plays over itself. It's almost like the Laura Palmer theme from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And you let it keep going because it's a really catchy tune.
It is really catchy, and it does have like this twinkly kind of music box sound to it until she literally does open up a music box, and they play it on the piano at one point. It's interesting you mentioned Laura Palmer because, and we're talking about like the absurdism and the surrealness of House, and it predates almost all Lynch except for I think Eraserhead was 1977, right?
Yeah.
But it feels to me Lynchian, but only in a very distinctly Twin Peaks way.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of soap opera-y, and it's like the heightened emotion of everything. There's like a little bit of Twin Peaks. There's maybe a little bit of like Blue Velvet and like Wild at Heart in there too.
That is, that's
kind of early Lynch.
And you get you definitely get that with Evil Dead 2 because it's in the woods, and the woods themselves become like a
monster,
a menacing force.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that Peter Deming, who I mentioned shot the movie, did shoot Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive.
Oh my gosh, so many connections.
Yeah, a lot of connections there.
That's good.
Yeah, no idea who shot House, but they did
a great job.
Don't know if they worked with Lynch after that. Probably not.
Probably not. But there is sort of a like dreamy fuzziness to everything that I feel like you get in like a lot of early Twin Peaks, like your first two seasons.
Yeah.
Cotton candy.
It's cotton candy. It's your cotton candy. Yeah.
And,
you think?
Well, I'll just say real quick. Season 3 of Twin Peaks, it figures very prominently around the dropping of the atomic bomb.
Oh my God, yeah.
As like the inception of evil too. So I think you do have this. Hey, that's the advent of post-modernity is the beginning of the atomic age. And it is a point of history that so much of our art since then just revolves around.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Evil Dead 2. Because what the hell is Evil Dead 2 about?
What do you think it's about?
It's a supernatural home invasion film.
You use the Sisyphus analogy.
There's a Sisyphus thing there. It's a libertarian's nightmare, I would say. Private property's alive, like his lamp is laughing at him, and I feel like there's something there. To me, it is distinctly American. There's a little bit of like an animistic and like pagan thing kind of going there too, which feels almost like tapping into the whole satanic panic of
the Necronomicon.
Yeah. There's part of that there. I don't know. I have a harder time though parsing out like a single coherent theme as parsimonious as, atomic bomb, the atomic bomb. Like that is like, so you say that and you watch House and you're like, oh, I get it now. That makes sense.
How important is it to you to be able to glean a theme from a narrative like this?
It becomes more important when we're comparing it with another movie that does have a clearer theme. But it's weird because I think both these movies, and I know this is hard ticket, and at the end of this, we have to decide what our hard ticket is going to go to. But I love both these movies about equally.
Yeah.
But I just find Evil Dead 2 to be, well, I almost found it to be in a similar vein to how I originally viewed House, where I was like, this is just a funny, zany, wacky movie.
Uh-huh.
What do you get? What do you get from Evil Dead 2?
Well, like I said, I think I get that sort of like almost the inverse from House. It's certainly less, I think, objective. It doesn't spell out the theme for you at the end, but whether or not that theme that House spells out for you at the end is what you're supposed to take away from it is also like kind of subjective. Like I said, I think that movie invites you to glean a lot of different interpretations from it. You know, you can like look at these characters and you can say their name is their personality trait, or you
Right.
could say it's their fatal flaw. You could say one or the other.
I was thinking like Seven Deadly Sins because that's my
There's
Western
also
bias.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like looking. Okay, so I tried to just real quick. I tried to assign them each. Okay, gorgeous. This is why I called her Envy earlier. I think she might be Envy because she's pretty and everybody envies her.
That's fair.
And I think she kind of has like a little bit of an envying thing with her mother-in-law because, or her soon-to-be, not mother-in-law, stepmom, her soon-to-be stepmom because, you know, she's taking over her dad. Fantasy, I gave her lust because she's lusting after her teacher.
That's
the
true.
entire
She
time.
is. Yeah. Who's just a schlub.
He's a schlub. He's like, you know, she's a minor. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Kung Fu, I said wrath because she's like very.
She responds with anger.
Yeah, very action oriented and everything.
Mac.
Prof.
Mac, we know.
Mac is the easiest. She's gluttony, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Prof, I said pride,
Yeah.
because she's very like rational. She's like, that's not logical. Like she's very dismissive of fantasy, who is seeing all these things. And then I got to Melody and Sweet, and I don't know. I said greed maybe for Melody because I don't know. And
if
then
you want to stretch it, yeah. I mean, you could
Sweet-
say that about Sweet because she's drawn to like inanimate things like the doll that ends up being
then
her.
maybe Melody is Slove.
Yeah, I guess.
Slove.
Yeah, well, in that sense, you know, like I think both of these movies are, I think they're both playgrounds, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
you glean what you want.
Sure.
I think, you know, like some people could even say you're reaching with your atomic bomb, like,
I'm absolutely not. I'm not. It's a common interpretation of the movie, and I did not even know that.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm saying
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying that, you know,
I'm just
everybody
telling
else is
I'm
saying
telling
that.
the haters right now, I'm not reaching.
But then something like Evil Dead is also a playground. It's like what Evil Dead is doing for film and cinema that follows it is it's inspiring so many people to just like create a scene that has the energy, the draw, the just kinetic atmosphere with such little. Just a puppet on the wall,
Yeah.
and some wires, and like the kinetic energy of Bruce Campbell's face covered in this blackish tar. And now all of a sudden, like you're feeling like you're going mad in the
Yeah.
middle of a house that's laughing at you, and you can only laugh with it.
Yeah. Maybe that's kind of the point. It kind of shuns interpretation and embraces like the affect, the experience of it. But then there's that part of me, my English major brain, that's like, oh, they read from the Book of the Dead, and that summons the demons. That's like how knowledge, like you eat from the tree of good and evil and knowledge and everything, and that summons demons. And like, you know, there's like a part of me that really wants to read into this movie. And it's definitely pulling from all kinds of mythologies, and it's even set up in the beginning like a prologue, like it's a mythology. It's there. There's something there. I think it's kind of a hodgepodge. I think there's a reason that Evil Dead 2 loses me just a little bit going into like the second act, or like towards the end of the second act, as it becomes this just drawn out siege on everything.
Okay.
It's a little repetitive in that way. It's always inventive in its effects, but there is like a temporary lull for me.
Okay.
Do you feel that like in the film at all?
I could see what you're saying with people getting possessed and unpossessed. But I also feel like, you know, the way that I don't feel like I need the rules of how this operates explained to me.
No.
But although Evil Dead does have like an opening narration that kind of sets the stage.
No, I like the chaos. I don't want anything explained. I like the chaos, and I do want to embrace the chaos. I think it's more just like the narrative, and you know, House is a similar kind of setup because it's just a group of people who are getting picked off one by one, and Evil Dead 2 is the same way. I just think that there's just a tiny, it's like maybe like a 5 or 10 minute period in the film where it kind of loses a little bit of steam before picking back up again. And I wish I could tell you exactly where in the film it is, but I'm sure some people who've seen the movie might know what I'm talking about. It's like after the B team shows up and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So-
don't think the B team adds a whole lot to this. You just kind of need people in order to generate more chaos, and then It's like
Yeah.
maybe where there's only so much you could do with Ash alone, so you
Yeah.
got to bring in some bodies.
I think it's entertaining when they show up and they think that he's like a home invader and they like throw him into the cellar and everything. I think that's all interesting. And I love, there is like, if we want to kind of pick maybe some more themes from Evil Dead 2, Ash is a college student. He kind of gives me, he's an everyman. He's like a romantic everyman. He loves his girlfriend and he's just trying to fight off the people trying to get into his house. I just came up with this. This is the biggest reach ever.
Go.
Reagan. I'm thinking Reagan. I'm thinking of like the government. The
He
worst
even looks like Reagan.
Even looks like Reagan. I'm thinking of like the whole, like, what did Reagan say? Like the worst things that anybody you could, the worst 13 words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you or whatever. Like, I don't know if you ever heard that quote before. Okay, this takes place, it came out in 87. You're at the tail end of the Reagan administration. The federal government has been gutted to hell and back. And the whole like thing about Reagan is small government. People just want to be left alone, living in their houses and everything. I was kind of joking about like the libertarian fantasy of just like protecting your home and, you know, or the libertarian nightmare of having your home literally come to life and invade and everything.
Right. How do I protect it from itself?
Yeah, exactly. So and literally Ash is a blue collar guy because he has a blue shirt with a collar on. So I was like, oh, he's a blue collar worker or whatever. You have like this. Okay, so if he's like middle class, like white America, you have the academics who come in, the liberal, you know, kind of self-righteous academics who are toying with you know, supernatural, unworldly, and you know,
oh my
the
God,
scientists. You know what I mean?
Pride.
But then you also have like the local color who comes in, who are like your dumb, ignorant hicks, and you know, they're you hate them too because they're, you know, the old guard Democrat voters who love JFK and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, like we're from West Virginia. West Virginia used to be a blue state because, you know. Anyways.
Yeah.
That, and I just came up with that. I don't know
how
much of that is just subtext or like part of like the culture that this movie was made in.
It was literally. And
no, he's getting convinced, folks.
Ash is not defending his own home.
Well,
he is a home invader.
He is the home invader, yeah. But he defends that motherfucker like it's his own. He
sure does.
He lays his life on the line for that thing.
And you know, that's another American philosophy is if you want it, just take it.
It's a movie about stand your ground laws. It's about castle doctrine. That's why he gets the shotgun and everything.
That's why Bruce Campbell says this is my own private domicile.
I have rights. I'm an American.
I will protect it like it is my castle.
It's a movie about the Second Amendment. No, I think like I really do think Evil Dead 2 is like distinctly American, and I think that like I don't know how much of that's intentional. I don't think any of it really is probably, but I do think that's part of like the culture that it came up in.
That's part of the playground of both of these movies too. Is like, yeah, you could be reaching, but also like
that's why I love movies like this though.
Yeah, this is so fun. This is such a fun matchup. These are two super fun movies, and we have a hard ticket to choose between them. Which, you know, man, why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
We need to pick like worse. We need to not have them so evenly matched anymore.
Yeah, we just need to make it a bloodbath every single time. Although both of these movies are independently bloodbaths of their own.
Both of these movies have blood shooting out of the wall on numerous occasions.
That's true.
Legend has it that it was written by the Dark Ones, Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
We are going to get into some questions now. Tristan, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick us off.
Yeah, questions. Okay, Bruce Campbell, surely the ultimate Scream King. Final guy. You have your final girls, you have your Scream Queens. He is the Scream King. Are there other like horror male protagonists you feel like would fit that mold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is you know, we pre-screened these a little bit to give us some time. And it's true, like the final guy is just so much rarer than the final girl. We do have Paxton as the final guy in Hostel, but that movie's inferior in so many ways.
And apparently he dies in the next one.
Yeah, he dies at the beginning of the second one. Spoilers for Hostel 2. Didn't think you were going to get that spoiled in this episode, did you? You know who I think technically qualifies is
Who?
Dave from 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Oh! There's a 2001 reference in Evil Dead 2, I feel like, where he's like getting sent back through time. And
Dude, what isn't there a reference to?
Isn't it great? Like, I feel like it's like a psychedelic, and like he's there's like kind of like classical music playing as he's doing it. It's very short, like it's not like drawn out like 2001 is. But I feel like that's definitely a 2001 reference. And the Bride of Frankenstein reference, where he has like the white hair streak or whatever.
You know who else? Unconventional example. Nemo.
Nemo's a final guy?
Remember the opening to Finding Nemo?
Oh, you mean Marlin? Oh, no, you mean all of his baby brothers and siblings? What? You're right.
All of those eggs. That
He's
barracuda.
a final guy. He's a final little fish guy.
Yeah.
Scream Prince. Because he's so little.
Did you have somebody in mind?
I didn't. No, I was genuinely asking because I was like, nothing was coming off the top of my head. I think the Dave, that's inspired. There's an argument to be made that there's like definitely a horrific element to that movie. So,
yeah. Oh, definitely like a cosmic horror kind of thing.
He does get turned into a giant baby at the end. So spoilers for 2001.
Didn't think you'd get that spoiled in this episode. Okay, moving on. So House gained traction when it entered the American market via the Criterion Collection. So what are some lesser known films that you have seen that you believe could break through to a larger audience if uplifted by Criterion?
Okay, there's one movie I have in particular that I think is destined to get picked up by the Criterion Collection eventually. It's called The Timekeepers of Eternity.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had you watch this. It's a 60-minute recut of a 1990 Stephen King movie called The Langoliers.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, what he did is he photocopied every frame of the film on like paper and then put it all together as a collage. He cut, there's like a 3-hour made for TV movie, he cut it down to 60 minutes. It's, it's not even feature length. I don't like, what is feature, 70 minutes, 80 minutes? Like,
I think
loose.
It can be considered like over 45 or 50, so it could still be under an hour.
Yeah, it's like barely, you could literally, it's 60 minutes, like an episode of a TV show. Great film, one of my favorites of this decade. Very inventive and tragically underseen. I think it only has, like 4,000 or 5,000 people have seen it on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I could see it getting picked up one of these days.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it a lot, for sure.
Do you have something in mind?
I was thinking about it. The first thing that came to my mind was Speakerman the Boo.
Oh my God.
Probably. No. Yeah, so little people have seen that movie. Also, it's like just...
What, like 100 people have seen that on Letterboxd?
It's pretty obscure. If you've heard of that movie and you're listening to this podcast, you
We
belong
love
here.
You belong here.
But I was
There's
thinking, legitimately, something like Richard Williams' The Thief and the Cobbler, the recobbled cut.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to you about this a little bit. It's like one of the longest production times spent on any movie. It was like over 30 years he was working on this movie. He was making it his masterpiece, like his magnum opus in the most traditional sense, like the thing that he made when he mastered his craft. It ran out of funding multiple times. Eventually, the studios got just so fed up. They were like, we're going to release it. We're going to chop it up, turn it into something that we can market. They made some of their own animations to it. You could tell which parts like Williams animated himself because, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous film.
Yeah.
And he started on it way before Aladdin. And then Aladdin comes out, and that's when the studios are like, well, now we're boned because like everybody's just going to think it's an Aladdin ripoff. So, but there is a cut that Richard Williams gave his blessing before he passed.
Yeah. That
supposedly is the closest thing we have to his original vision of it. And it's free on YouTube. It's called the Recobbled Cut. I think the latest version is a 2023 version. And I think Richard Williams already has something of a following in animation communities because he's just such a legend.
Yeah.
Best known for animating Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which could never be done today because nobody has the grit that Richard Williams does. And I think that absolutely deserves its due.
I'm sure there'd be a lot of interesting behind the scenes information in that Criterion disc and everything. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So in both these films, one of the main characters holds the severed head of a friend or a loved one. And I'm just kind of curious, and they promptly toss the head away. I'm just curious, what would you do if my severed head landed in your arms? Jeff?
Is your severed head Is it a deadite? Do you have like the whites of your eyes and you're still talking? Like, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. Or you're just dead?
Does it change your answer?
It does.
It really does? Okay, so like if my head... Okay, I can guess what you would do if I was saying dead by dawn. You'd probably throw me away.
Oh, no.
Oh, you keep me?
If your head was still talking, we would continue the podcast.
That's my hell. Like I always have to do a podcast because I'm just dead.
But if you're dead, you're of no use, and I'm tossing you away.
Not even gonna recycle me. That's okay. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate.
That's just like that's got to be the natural reaction if a severed head falls in your hands. You're not going to be like.
I just feel like it's a little disrespectful.
What would you do with my head?
I feel like if your head landed in my lap, there would probably be an initial impulse to throw you away because I'd be like, "Oh my god, his head."
But you'd stop yourself.
Well, I would try to. Yeah, I would try to be like a little more like respectful of your remains. I'm assuming that you blew up or were decapitated in this scenario.
Well, yeah, it would have to be one or the other, right?
Shut up.
Okay, on to my next question. I appreciate that, by the way. The restraint that you show. I am tossing you. Create a new character that seamlessly fits into the group of girls in House. What is her name and what is her single personality trait?
I don't know why, but I was like fidget spinner.
What? What is it? Is it like 2017 right
I don't
now?
know. Yeah, well, it's okay. She doesn't. We can just call her Fidget, and all she does is she fidgets around with things. Like she has a Rubik's cube. She has a fidget spinner. She's just like ADHD, like or ADD, whatever. And she's just like
they just call her Fidget. Oh yeah, because she's just got to do something with her hands.
Yeah, she's always just walking around doing stuff, messing with shit. She's like pulling on the skin on her elbow, like in that one Clone High episode. I'm just
check out this extra flabby skin on my elbow. Oh my god,
Connie has ADD. I'm just imagining that character because she would be completely pointless, and that would be funny to me personally. What about you? Do you have something in mind?
That's great. Yeah, I was thinking like snobby. Like she's just a snob. Like she has issue with everything.
Yeah.
Like they're eating the watermelon. She's like, too many seeds or something like that. But initially, my reaction was like, what did people make personality traits out of characters in like the 70s and 80s in sitcoms? There was just like a character who was the drunk.
Oh,
so yeah, which is just like so problematic now.
She's like a teenage girl, just like sloshed.
Yeah, your illness is your whole personality.
Oh
that sucks. But no, I think snobby would be a good kind.
That would be interesting. She's like, she makes it to like the very end, and she's still just like this. All these effects look fake. This sucks.
Yeah, she's complaining about her own death. Yeah.
All right. Great. So my next question: which place are you visiting for a weekend excursion?
Out of the two places, which one am I going to visit? I would probably visit the house.
The house? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's nice and spacious. It's got a well. It's got a beautiful view of the countryside.
Oh, the sky is gorgeous.
I feel like if you get out of that house when it's trying to kill you, you can feasibly get away. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if you get out of the cabin in Evil Dead 2, like the woods are going to eat you.
Or yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I don't want to get turned into a deadite or get my like soul. Like, is there like hell in this universe? Like, I don't want to go to hell.
I think there is hell. Actually,
that.
Whoa, dude, hold on. Maybe hell's not so bad.
I'm trying to slander hell or anything.
Yeah, there's definitely hell in this universe.
Yeah. So yeah, in house, I just assume I'm like a spirit in the house, which I guess it'd be kind of cool. I can just stay there forever.
Well, it's interesting. Like when these girls get consumed, sometimes you see them afterwards. Like Melody is like inside the piano.
Oh yeah, in the piano.
Yeah, that's Sweet's in the clock. Melody's in the piano. She's like looking at all of her severed body parts, and she's like far out.
Yeah,
it was like, okay, well,
it's cool.
Yeah, fly around. Okay. So my next question is: if not a chainsaw, what other weapon would you like to have seen Ash mount to his arm?
I almost said fidget spinner again.
Dude, you gotta come back. I don't know where you're at right now.
Maybe I'm the one who has ADD. He would probably have like a rake, like a garden rake.
A rake?
Yeah, like one of those really cheap, like a plastic one.
Yeah. Oh man, that would suck.
Oh, it sucks. Yeah, he says not groovy when he puts it on. He says not groovy.
I guess he's in the tool shed surrounded by other stuff. And he's just like, Well, not groovy, but it'll have to do.
No, I mean, realistically, if he had another weapon, like he would just have like a grenade launcher. Like he'd be like Samus from Metroid or something.
He'd
and
be a
just
gun.
shoot.
He'd be like the Iron Giant. He would be a gun.
He would become a gun. What would you have him?
I want to take it back to a couple of our past episodes because I think it'd be cool for him to have that little tool from the poster of Hostel. You know, that little scalpel thing?
Yeah,
like he's got a big beefy forearm and then there's just like a little knife at the end of it. But then I was like, wait a minute. How does George fight the sharks in Sharknado?
Oh.
He's got a bar stool on the end of his arm.
That's great because Sharknado actually does have the chainsaw like make an appearance.
I
at
know.
the end.
I made a note in when I was watching Evil Dead 2. I said, this is the best chainsaw scene we have talked about in the past month. And it's not the only one.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Barstool on the end. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. Never talk shit about my stool again. All right. So if you switch the casts of these two movies, what do you think is going to change?
If you switch the casts of these two movies, I was thinking about this, like, how would Ash be, like, how could he feasibly go up against, because the aunt from House has no reason to consume him. He's not an unmarried young woman, you know?
Well, she's going to get his girlfriend, Linda.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then he'll, like, seek revenge. But, like, you know, you're talking about the girls trying to make an argument somehow for the 7 deadly sins. Like, what would Ash's, like,
he's just
trap
he's
be?
too cool.
He's too cool. Yeah. Or they try to lure him in with a chainsaw or something. I don't know. He's always looking for a chainsaw.
Is that chainsaw scene like the coolest scene ever?
I will say, I was looking up clips to edit together for our Hard Ticket to Halloween teaser, and I had not seen Evil Dead 2 before this episode.
Oh, okay.
I'd seen the first one, but you told me you wanted Ash saying groovy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I watched that scene and I was like, this looks fucking awesome.
Dude,
I can't wait to watch this movie.
I feel like every Edgar Wright montage that he's ever done is an homage to that scene.
Oh, yeah. You're
has to be.
probably right. Every single one.
It's like that. But he and I love Edgar Wright. And I know you love Edgar Wright. But that is so fucking cool when he puts the chainsaw on his arm.
Yeah.
And like, he has like the hook on his chest that like pulls the thing that you pull. What is that called? Someone answer in the comments what that thing is called on a chainsaw that you pull.
Yeah, the pulley.
The pulley thingy. and he just says groovy. That is so awesome.
I like how it lingers just a beat too long after he says groovy too as well. So you're just like, that's like the thesis of the movie.
Oh,
right there.
yeah,
Show
yeah.
you this cool thing and then let you know subtly how much we know we're doing it on purpose.
Just doing it because it's cool.
Yeah. Okay, on to my next question. So some of the kills in House are based on fears that Obayashi gleaned from his 10-year-old daughter. Did you have a fear of a particular room or piece of furniture or something irrational as a kid? And how could it feasibly be translated into a horror movie? Or was it transferred into one of these horror movies?
Yeah. Oh, man. I was a terrified little child, little imp, you might say, a little goblin. I was scared of innocuous things similar to Obayashi's daughter. I was scared of, I had this recurring nightmare about corners. Corners, yeah. You and I have talked about like night terrors before, and my night terror is always centered around like abstract geometric like spaces. And this is why like Skinamarink was so terrifying to me, because it was tapping into like imagery that I thought only I had like in my nightmares of like being really close. Like your face is like pressed into like the corner of a room, and you just can't like, you're
Blair Witching.
It's kind of a claustrophobic kind of thing. No, like down into the corner of the carpet, like not like put your nose in the corner, you're in trouble. I mean, like you're on the ground, belly on the ground, face into
completely immobilized.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard to express like that fear. I was also afraid of those singing like bass things.
Well, that's definitely like in that. I mean,
that's
a
literally
missed opportunity in Evil Dead 2.
Well, they have the deer.
Got the moose, or is that a deer?
I'm pretty sure it's a deer. It might be an elk, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Raimi was like, the big mouth Billy Bass. That's just one step too far. To me, like I almost had the opposite thing where I think there was this bonus room in my house that was at the end of this hallway. And I was always scared to go in that room by myself. And I remember running up and down the hallway every time I left it. And I think like a fear of mine could be like if you're running down a hallway, but you're not actually getting any closer to the thing that's in plain sight. So like hallways, infinite hallways, almost like you ever play Super Mario 64 when you're like running up the stairs.
Yeah, yeah.
You never get to the top. There's also a killer piano in Super Mario 64.
Hey.
And there's no way, nobody can convince me that was not inspired by House.
Oh yeah, I mean that's Nintendo's Japanese company. Someone from Nintendo must have seen House.
Mm-hmm.
House. That was a bad voice crack. House. Okay, my last question. When I think of Criterion, I think of the House poster. You know, you talked about what's the guy's name again? The guy in the Criterion closet.
Oh, Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader. Yeah, of course. Brick or Barry, whatever. Brickleberry.
Brick, Ryan Johnson, Bill Hader.
No, I was thinking Brickleberry, the Daniel Tosh. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, how is Bill Hader involved in Brickleberry?
Well, his name. Well, he's Barry. No, he's not involved. He's not involved. He made a show called Barry, and I was
Yeah.
Anyways, when I think of Criterion, I think of that House poster, the orange poster with like the cat.
Yeah.
And I consider that tasteful, or at least it was when I first kind of discovered the film. I think nowadays maybe it's a little ubiquitous, but what are we talked about dorm room red flags for our Pulp Fiction episode and for our Eternal Sunshine episode. What are some dorm room posters that are green flags? Like you see them and you're like, I'm going to get along with this person.
Yeah, green flags. I mean, really, it's just like whatever movies you like, probably, right? It's
No, because if I see an Eternal Sunshine or like a Pulp Fiction, I'm gonna assume something.
Oh, it's too mainstream.
Yeah.
For you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want it to be a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah. But still tasteful.
Something like a.
Like if you have a street trash.
Let me
poster?
ask you this: like, what David Lynch movies are tasteful versus non-tasteful?
I think all of the David Lynch movies are on the table. If
You have Twin Peaks posters in your house.
I do. They're like Japanese Twin Peaks posters. So maybe I'm biased. If you have a Dune, like an original Dune 1984 poster,
Yeah.
you're the coolest person I know, honestly.
Yeah, I think anything that's like kind of a cult movie, like a harmless cult movie, something like The Mummy. I don't know.
Ooh.
I've never even seen The Mummy.
Ooh,
But
you mean like the Universal one or like the Brendan Fraser?
The Brendan Fraser one.
Whoa, you've never seen that?
No, I've never seen it,
Oh
but I
my
was
God.
walking in the mall with my girlfriend like a month or two ago, and we passed like a hot topic that had like discounted teas on the outside, and she saw the Mummy one, and she was like, "Will you buy that for me?" And I was like, "You bet your sweet pippy I will." So she has a Mummy t-shirt, and because it's my girlfriend's, that's a green flag for me.
Okay, yeah, that's good. No, the Mummy, hottest cast ever, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I can't believe you've never seen The Mummy.
Yeah, we'll have to match it up with something for this, so I have an excuse
what
to
could we
watch it.
possibly match The Mummy with?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. All right, I'm going to move on to my last question here, which is both House and Evil Dead 2 have an aesthetic of intentional, like, kind of shoddiness. Besides the talking big mouth Billy Bass, how much worse can you think these movies could look,
Yeah.
or how much cheesier you think they can get before the balance is like totally just disrupted?
You are asking the wrong person.
I am.
You're asking the wrong film fan, because you know me to be a defender of such Z-grade films as Tartarus and After Last Season.
But if you were defending these movies, and they were somehow worse, like
You say worse.
you're defending Tartarus in a different way than you would be defending something like Evil Dead 2.
What do you mean?
Well, you're defending Tartarus because, like,
Because I'm a contrarian asshole? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I guess I am. No, okay. Well, I'm just thinking, like, you know, what would sacrifice the enjoyment? Like, what would knock it off kilter? Because to me, there are so many things. Like, if Sam Raimi sacrificed the kinetic energy of his camera work,
Yeah.
I think you would lose an element.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
If they weren't like practical stunts, if they weren't like wire effects, if you didn't have people literally like floating in the cabin.
And you see The Wire on numerous occasions.
Yeah, and that's great. But like if they were doing like a forced perspective thing where like you don't even see their feet above the ground, you just see like a shot of them from the chest up, and they're supposed to be floating. That's like that's not fun, you know?
It's not as fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. So it's just like little like skimping on some things maybe would take away from the enjoyment.
Yeah. I mean, but which things?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any one group of things, I guess. I don't know. Like we talked earlier about how these films, like it's like little details that they do. Like you can tell that both directors cared. That comes through in these movies. And I guess if there's some tell that they just did not give a shit for the wrong reasons, because I mean there are some continuity errors and stuff that you can pick up on, and obviously some of the effects, like you're saying, are shoddy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have like a clear-cut answer for you. But is it what would you say for you? I mean, is it just like stuff like the wire works? Like if you could tell that they were cutting corners there?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the technical stuff. I think the technical stuff, like it's so just iconic to these movies.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, Bruce Campbell's also just so enjoyable here. I'm trying to think if he tried to hone in a more serious performance, like that would take away from it as well.
Well, but he hones in a more serious performance in Evil Dead, and
that movie's fine.
I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And some, I think Evil Dead 2 generally is regarded as better, but there are people who prefer the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's a tough question to answer. And I think that when you're in the hands of these two filmmakers, Raimi and Obayashi, no matter what your budget is or what your story is, you're going to get something that is from them, as craftsmen and their team of people who helped put it all together, of course. Because I mean, I've seen Evil Dead that had, way less of a budget, and it's a great movie. And I've seen the short film that inspired Evil Dead, and I enjoyed it a lot. So there are tiers to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a straight answer for that one. Bad question. I'm just kidding. Oh boy, we've reached the end of Hard Ticket to Halloween episode number 4. This is what are we calling this one? Evil House 2?
Evil House.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Jeff, I don't know where this is going to go, and I love those episodes. I love the episode where I'm just like, where the hell is this guy's Hard Ticket going to go? What are you thinking? What are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, well, like I said, I had not seen Evil Dead 2 before this episode. I had seen House once, I think, when I watched it the first time. I think I was expecting something a little bit more like that scene from Cabin in the Woods where they're talking about like the Japanese horror movie where all the schoolgirls hold hands and like send the poltergeist spirit into the frog. That is not what House is. House is very much something that is difficult to describe. It is...
but essential to see.
Essential to see, definitely. And I am choosing to see it again because it's my hard ticket.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It was hard, man.
It is hard.
The first time I watched them both, I something about watching House this time around, like I was so taken in by it, so much.
It's electric.
Like, it all just really clicked with me. But Evil Dead 2 did as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so fun. I think between the two movies, my favorite scene is the scene in Evil Dead 2 where all the furniture just starts laughing at him.
Yes.
It's so madcap. It's so just like captures the energy of the whole film and House a little bit too. And there's things that I think Evil Dead 2 does better than House in terms of like, I do think that some of the blue screen work is distracting at times in House in a way that I don't enjoy it as much as the much more practical effects of Sam Raimi's vision. But something about just the holistic movie really got to me this time around.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer, and I agree with you. My hard ticket goes to House. I was kind of leaning this way this evening. I rewatched House this morning and watched Evil Dead 2 last night. So I didn't know which way I was going to go with it, though, because let me see. This is my third time watching House, and probably my third time watching Evil Dead 2. So,
and how much of those thematics you were talking about went into your decision?
I think that ended up being the deciding factor for me. I am not quite convinced, nor am I unconvinced of my Reagan
your
era.
Reaganomics.
I think there might be something there. And maybe someone in the comments section is like, "Of course there is, you idiot! Of course, you Philistine. But I don't think there's as much going on there that grabs me, even though it's more relevant culturally to me, certainly. But no, the house, I think there's something there that I love a good reckoning with the horrors of the atomic bomb story. I don't know why I love that. We're still doing it. Oppenheimer just came out.
Yeah, we are still doing it. We're still
huge.
reeling from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just such a ripple in modernity.
Time and space.
Yeah, truly. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed because I really wish one of us gave Evil Dead 2 its due.
I know. It's blasphemous because Evil Dead 2 it's legendary.
I gotta ask you, is it your favorite Evil Dead movie?
It is, yeah.
Okay,
it is, yeah.
it is.
I grew up watching Army of Darkness. It was one of the movies my dad let me watch as a kid. I think it's R-rated. I might be wrong. It might be PG-13.
Okay.
But definitely like one of the more like gruesome movies I would watch as a kid.
Yeah.
And watched Evil Dead 2 a couple of years ago. I think 7 years ago, I first watched Evil Dead 2. Then I watched Evil Dead. And then I watched the short film that inspired Evil Dead. So I watched them all in reverse chronological order. But Evil Dead 2, I agree with the consensus that it is the best Evil Dead movie. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, my answer could easily change. I think it would have been different just a couple weeks ago, honestly, a couple months ago. I would have picked Evil Dead 2. And I don't blame anybody who is banging their head on the on whatever nearest object is.
Yeah. I think
it.
I could name a couple people who we're going to be pissing off with this one, but
hey, but I'm not doing like a chef thing where I'm shitting all over the Evil Dead 2. Like I love Evil Dead 2. I really do. I think this is a very strong matchup. I think I did a great job pairing these movies up. I do think that they're a great matchup. I think and their quality speaks for themselves. If you haven't seen these movies, by all means, go watch them. You do not have to see the first Evil Dead to see Evil Dead 2.
No.
It's essentially a remake. It's a more comedic remake. So, yeah, don't feel pressured to see Evil Dead, although it's also good. And you should definitely watch House. It's on, I think, HBO Max right now.
It is.
So
Yeah, definitely check those two out and keep up with us. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hard Ticket Pod, all lowercase, all one word. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Jeff Blogus, again, all lowercase, all one word. Tristan.
You can follow me on Letterboxd at Tristan M. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Tristan_less.
Just one underscore.
Well, it changes every week. So.
Thank you, Jared Tadlock, for designing our brand elements, keeping our podcast looking fresh. And thank you, Aaron Griffin, for mixing, mastering, all the good stuff. Our theme song, sung by yours truly in a truly
awful falsetto.
Sorry, you want to say my lines for me? Okay.
I always wanted to say that.
Next week is our last week of Hard Ticket to Halloween, and we have got the ultimate matchup for you because we are covering Halloween itself, and it will release on Friday, Halloween the 31st. And what can we put the one of the most iconic slashers up against?
Jaws.
Yes, we will be talking about slashers, making an argument for Jaws as a slasher, and a horror movie, because some people disagree with that too, and hopefully having another guest on. So thank you all for listening, and as always, we will see you at the movies.
Groovy!
It's a hard ticket at the movies. Which one will you watch? Let's decide. It's a hard